it was almost 2 months back when an academician in Vietnam who spent about a decade in China got in touch with me and said that there's something exciting information that he has got to share, and that was the starting point. I remember distinctly it was sometime in mid June, July, early July, uh, and then lo and behold he set in process a chain of things where more and more participants from across the world they joined in, media collaborators I would say, and eventually we started sharing information, and then the database was made available to all of us. A small company in Shenzhen, which is called Zhenhua Data Information Technology Limited in the Guangdong province, China, has been working for the last 3 years collecting and amassing amazing amounts of information, putting together a massive database of about 2.5 million people across the world. All these are very influential individuals across sectors, politicians, thought leaders, media, NGOs, business leaders, and even petty criminals who have indulged in all kinds of financial crimes. From India, there were about 10,000 such characters, if not more. And these included the current President of India, Ramnath Kovind, to the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, and to a bunch of cabinet ministers, 2 dozen chief ministers, 350 odd members of parliament, and their families. This investigation actually shows that all these people are very closely tracked by this information technology company called Zhenhua Data, which has got links with a lot of Chinese government as well as Communist Party affiliates in China. The company itself claims that it shares this data with military agencies in China, with the PLA, with the People's Liberation Army, as well as with the Chinese government. To what purposes and to what ends that this information is used, we are still figuring it out.
We worked on this investigation over 2 months, and the focus was digging into the Chinese companies' affiliations and operations, extracting Indian names from a massive dump of log files using Big Tools data, using Splunk. Next, we tried to collate and analyze the range of Chinese focus across different interest categories in the extracted data, and we also tried to verify identities of some who were not really household names. Collecting open source public information from social media is not illegal, and this investigation is not only about the big names who are anyway under a lot of public attention, but big data is about volume, and that comes in this investigation from thousands of not so prominent names who are somehow valuable in this Chinese database. In hybrid warfare, each speck of information can be potentially correlated and synthesized to maneuver some strategic end or other. So it is not the source of this data or how it was collected, but its potential end use that should worry us.
So when the Indian Express started investigating this large database, we found very broad patterns. The most prominent was the important political leaders in the country, from the President of India, Prime Minister, to the mayors. Mayors play a very important role in China, and many mayors from different parts of the country were being tracked. We also saw a lot of important state leaders. Another important aspect from the political front was the fact that many important political families and their trees were being collected, what is called as a family tree. Then the second pattern was the security establishment from the Navy, from the armed forces, people who are part of important think tanks were being tracked. Then we had the bureaucracy. The length and the breadth of the entire Indian bureaucracy was being tracked from the Prime Minister's office. people in important positions in the ministries, then chief secretaries and top police officers. We also found in the security establishments people, scientists in the atomic energy, and we further found that a large data is being collected from the entrepreneurs, venture capitalists, and the new startups that have been established in India.
Over the last 2 decades or so, conventional warfare, which we have seen for the better part of the 20th century, I think it has moved away from that. So if you look at what has happened with the way state actors are using big data and information, which they can use, put to use in through different mechanisms, which over the last 2 decades, which has been called as hybrid warfare. So what exactly is hybrid warfare? So there are many things which countries can, various tactics which the countries can employ beyond just say military or armies actually fighting on the ground. A stock market crash which is orchestrated in say New York Stock Exchange, or a huge commodity crash which happens in say the London Metal Exchange. I think these are things which are being increasingly used by state actors or non-state actors across the world. So in hybrid warfare, what is critical and of vital importance is data and information. So what this small Chinese company in Shenzhen has done is collected this humongous data from across individuals, and they have tried to piece together a relationship between, on one side, the individual, on the other side, the entity of the organization to which this individual belongs or works for, and then the information that he brings to the table. So this relational database being tracked online 24/7 continuously of n number of people, influential people in the country, along with their relatives or close relatives or associates, I think this kind of generates huge data which probably is much of it is available online, and it is as we all know that this open source intelligence which you can pick up from say several social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Medium, they are not really illegal. The information technology rules of 2011 in India do not say that these are illegal, but what use do you put this to? The other significant aspect which points to some illegality in at least the advanced jurisdictions is, while a Facebook takes your consent for putting out or collecting your personal information, this third party company doesn't really have your explicit consent to collect this information and put it together in many different ways which can be used for different purposes, like say for instance sentiment analysis. We have seen that lawmaking agencies do use such tools, social media tools like sentiment analysis or public opinion analysis, these kind of things for say figuring out whether there are conflicts, whether there is assimilation of crowd in particular areas. So this data at a large scale being made available to an organization or to a country and its military, with which India there are issues on the border with say for instance China. So this raises some red flags in India as well. While collecting data through open source from various online sources, social media platforms, articles, blogs, news sites, online news sites, patent sites, organized think tank sites, or even the number of say technical and research papers that organizations put out. When all this information is available online and it is open source, so is it really a worry for India? I would say at a very individual level. So I may not be too concerned, but at a very broad level, I am not sure to what end use all this information that is being compiled is being put to use. It is like somebody prying on me without my understanding or without my knowledge. He or she is tracking me where I am going through geolocationing that is available on Facebook and Twitter. So that kind of worries me to some extent. But is it legal? It is illegal. So that aspect is still not very clear. In India right now, collecting information from open source intelligence is not really illegal. But what may become illegal tomorrow, based on the data privacy laws that India enacts, or what the rest of the world is doing, there is a big question mark on that.